Welcome, everyone. My name is Cindy Culler. I'm from West Music, and thank you so much for joining us today for this masterclass session with Steve Smith from Hal Leonard. We are so appreciative of our partnership with them and hope you enjoy today's session. I will be sending out the recording afterwards, so if you want to reference it again or have to duck out for something, I know spending your Saturday afternoon with us can be interrupted. So if you need to step away, no worries. We'll send that recording on out to you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Steve Smith.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to let a couple more people in here, and then we'll get going. Really happy that you guys are here on this Saturday, and I'm excited to kind of talk to you about things. Before I start, I just have to say, every day I wake up, I always kind of think there's something that's the most important thing of the day. And I'd like to tell you that it was this webinar, but honestly, I have a friend who has been in the hospital for 3 months, and he came home today, and we had a big parade for him. He went in there 3 months ago with complications from different things, and we thought, it was a rough road for a while. But this morning we had a parade and welcomed him here, and it was just, got to be honest, that's the most important thing for today. So hopefully you guys can every now and then have a most important thing for the day. But I just have to share that because it was just phenomenal. So, but I am happy to be here. I am happy to get to talk about EEI and talk about how it can help you guys. And, I taught just a little bit about myself so that kind of know where we're working from. I taught middle school band in Texas for 12 years. I'm a graduate of the University of North Texas from, back in the day. We don't have to talk about it exactly how far back in the day, but anyway. So taught there for 12 years, had a lot of wonderful experiences, was honored. Our middle school group got to perform at Midwest in 2005. That was a fantastic thing. I still keep in touch with so many of those students. After teaching for 12 years, I went back to get my master's degree at North Texas and started working with the people at Hal Leonard. And they actually asked me to come and work at Hal Leonard. And now this is what I get to do for a living, is work with Essential Elements Interactive and a lot of different things with music education products at Hal Leonard, and talk to teachers and figure out what you guys need and how we can help you. And it's kind of Hal Leonard wanted somebody who had been in the classroom recently to bring that teaching experience and be able to connect with you guys. So that is my role, and I love it. I never thought I wouldn't teach. I loved teaching. I still love teaching. I get to do it from time to time, as far as going and doing clinics and things like that. But now I get to work with and help teachers. So it's an honor, and I really enjoy getting to do this. So today we're going to kind of talk about kind of what I spend a lot of my time with, which is Essential Elements Interactive, and talk about what you guys can use EEI for in a number of ways. Over in the chat, you're welcome to ask questions. I'll do my best to kind of see what questions you have. I see we got people from Czech Republic over there, from Turkey. Man, we got people all over there you're waving. I see you. So that's fantastic. Switzerland, holy cow. Puerto Rico. I can't say that correctly. I said it like a Texan. Puerto Rico. Anyway. So feel free to drop questions in there, and I'll see what I can do to answer them. If I see your question and I know I'm going to answer it in the webinar, I'll just keep going, and we'll do that. I'm going to let a few more people in here. It's fantastic getting a lot of people in here. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to kind of walk through this presentation. Hopefully you can hear the things that need to hear, and I think it should be good. I can see a few of you on screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the keynote presentation now. It should be an Essential Elements logo. There we go. Excellent. So we are going to talk about how to kind of connect with your kids. We've all been through a variety of things as far as what the last year has brought with us. And I know there's every possible scenario you could have, from continuing in person 5 days a week. I know I have a lot of friends who've done that, to some kind of hybrid model. My son, who is actually a middle school cello player, they did hybrid. So he went to school 2 days a week and did online 3 days a week. And then I know some of you have done all virtual. I know some people who didn't start beginners this year and are going to wait and start next year. I have some friends who started beginners halfway through the year. So I know there's just all kinds of things. Hopefully we're coming, I see a lot of people that are coming more towards, I don't want to say back to normal. I like to think of it moving forward to what is going to be. And so we're going to talk about how to really help, get you what you need in all cases, and how EEI can really help that. Looks like I have a few people who are coming in here. I think I've got them in there. So first of all, I want to do a really brief overview of Essential Elements Interactive. It does come with the Essential Elements method book, band and strings. And I am a band teacher. I guess, I can't really see a show of hands. Everyone just in the chat real quick, just to get this going, right? Whether you teach band or strings or both. Let's just kind of put that in there and just put a chat in there to everyone, so we can just kind of see where everyone is. I got band, I got string. Oh, good mix. So I always like to say this, I am a former band teacher, but I am a current orchestra dad. So I kind of get to see kind of both sides of the coin. And it's been great to see both sides and experience all this from a parent standpoint. EEI does, again, work with any of the books, 1, 2, and 3, band and strings. And it's just to kind of clarify, it is actually an online website, and it's going to provide connection from class to home, hopefully give you an engaging practice environment for your students, and also allow additional growth for resources from us and from you as well. We'll talk about that. The biggest thing is efficient and effective assessment, which we're really going to lean into that a little bit today. And then there's several organizational tools that can kind of help with this. Like I said, again, it is web-based. So your kids can get to this on any device that gets to the internet. And there's web apps, there's browser-based, you can get to a website, but there's also iOS and Google apps. And that's one of those things that's going to allow any of your kids to get onto this kind of however they need to. Primary way students really use this is through their school device. Chromebooks work wonderfully with this. And we have a lot of features that work with all of those. The nice thing about this too is with this, we're always able to update things. It's it's one of those things that it's not just about the printed book. So there's a lot of different ways to use this. Really quick, I'm just going to walk you through the different sections of EEI, and then we're going to kind of dive into some of those a little bit more in depth. So we have a dashboard, which is going to be a home base. You and the students will have that. So students have their own accounts. You guys have a teacher account, and you're connected. You're connected on that account as you go through the year. The dashboard is just kind of your home base. It shows you, assignments, calendar, students, all that type of things. The students have that as well to keep themselves organized. There's a music studio, which we have a lot of teachers that use this in class. We've had a lot of teachers who've definitely used this in the hybrid model or when they're doing online, like via Zoom. In fact, I'm gonna share the music studio here in a little bit via this Zoom call. And there's a lot of people that have used it in that way. That students can make recordings. We'll talk about that and how to use that as well. Resources. This is one of the two, I would say the music studio and the resources are the two primary buckets that EEI really provides teachers. This is a way for us to provide new resources, updated resources to you guys, and really let the method book kind of continually evolve. So this is a really helpful area. We are going to also lean into the assignments and the grading area. And I say assignments and grading, but really it's just connecting with your students when they go home, getting them some feedback. And I have a couple of videos I'm going to show you of ways that you can really see your kids, and just some and some things that you can send to your kids too, to really just make that connection. Even if you're seeing them at school and they go home, it's a way to kind of connect there in a number of ways. There is a calendar that's in there where you can if you have lessons. I know that my son's lesson schedule changed on a regular basis, and there's some teachers that use the calendar aspect of this to keep their classes organized. And there is a communication section as well. We'll talk briefly about those, but one of the nice things about the communication section is if you have students in EEI, they're going to be assigned instruments and things of that nature. So you can literally say, I want to email all of my clarinet players, and it'll just email your clarinet players, or I want to email all of my cello players, and it'll everything is sorted, and you can easily communicate with your students in a variety of ways. I will say this, the nice thing about EEI is that if you purchase the method book, you have a teacher book and the kids have a student book, this comes, you've already given the cost of EEI. It comes with the method book, it comes with the book. So you can use as much or as little of EEI as you want to. We have teachers using this on a variety of levels. And because it's just an additional feature, an additional tool that comes with the print book, you can ease into it. There's a lot of depth in this program, but there's also a lot of things you can do right away to get in and really use it as well. So for those of you who haven't dove in. So that's just a real broad overview. So let's kind of dig in a little bit more and talk about how you might use each of these. Let's just start with the music studio, because the music studio is really one of the primary areas that you're going to use. So again, music is going to be on screen for the kids to see. There's a lot of things that they can do. So they can, the students are going to see their instrument when they get in there, and they are going to really be able to play along with a lot of different accompaniments. One of the cool features and really engaging features we've had, and kids have really said they like this, is that each exercise, particularly in book one, each exercise has multiple styles of accompaniment tracks. So, in the old CDs, and truth be told, when I taught, I actually taught when the Essential Elements 2000 came out for the first time. And so we used the CDs and back in 2000. And now, so with that CD, you had one track and you had one accompaniment. But now we have the ability to have multiple accompaniments and multiple tracks for each exercise. And we'll kind of walk you through how that's going to work a little bit. So with this, let's see where we're at here. I'm going to pop over here to the music studio. So here I am. I'm in the music studio. And the nice thing is we have professional musicians that have recorded all of these melodies. So as a teacher, I'm in the teacher view right here. As a teacher, I can hop to any of these instruments if I want to demonstrate this. So for example, here's the clarinet. This is actually the principal clarinet for the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra performing these. And I'm going to choose none and have the melody on. And with this, that's going to allow the kids to hear a professional clarinet player by themselves in the clear. We'll give you a little sample of this. And so it gives them a little bit of time to get ready, get set, and then there's the count off, and then you hear clarinet. So really great for them to hear that sound. And if I'm in a class and I'm like, you know what, trumpets or trombones, I want you to hear, I want you to play this for me. And then you just pop over there, and now you've got the trombone playing their sound right there as well. So lots of flexibility in class. You're able to really, if you have the ability to have a smart board up there, or you don't even actually need to have the smart board. You could just have this connected to any kind of speaker you want. You could run this off your iPad. You could run it off a computer that you have in your room, however you'd like to do that. From there, you can do a lot of different things. So we're going to go in here. We can just add a metronome. But those of you, by the way, who are using EEI, we've had requests, and I want to show you kind of a little secret. We do have, when we press play, there's a little button or a screen that comes up that gives the kids a little bit of time to get set and ready to play. But if you're in class, you can actually click out of that. If you just click anywhere on the screen, you can move right in. You might have seen me do this. We've had teachers ask about this because before you just had to wait, but we've gone ahead and added a feature on this. So for example, I'm going to press play and I'm going to click out and get right into it, just so you know. So here's the clarinet with a metronome now. So we have a metronome there on every track. So now we're going to move and just add a simple piano background track. So now it's the same exercise. Kids can go through and practice this with different background tracks. So here we go with the piano on this. Good. And then one of the nice things about, I just said good, like I was listening to a student play, like nice job. That was the principal clarinet player for the, anyway. So with this, background tracks, they do add interest for students when they practice, but most importantly, they provide tempo and they provide pitch. And that's going to help them be consistent with what they're doing. And, metronomes are great. And you want a kid to be able to play with a metronome for sure. But sometimes playing with these background tracks, they're steady tracks. All of these background tracks, by the way, are also recorded by professional musicians. So now we're going to get into this to a more, this is a classical style. So we're just kind of easing into some more instruments and they're going to hear this. These are all professional musicians that we have recording these background tracks now. So it gives them a little bit more interest. I was like here in the, you got to hear the country one. I left Texas. I live in Wisconsin. I thought I was getting away from country, but there's no getting away from country. It's there everywhere. So, so here's country. So same song, kids playing it again, getting them to play it over and over again. If I want to slow the tempo down, I can. Or if I want a fast country song. So you can kind of mess with the tempo there a little bit and move that around. If I want to hear just the accompaniment, I can easily just turn the melody off. On the old CDs, you had to play through the accompaniment, and then the second half of the track had the accompaniment without the melody. But now if I just click that button and I turn the melody off, now I can come in here and I can hear the melody by itself. I'm sorry, hear the accompaniment by itself with no melody. They can practice playing along with that. My favorite on this is actually the jazz. I just like hearing, I just imagine some beginner like in like a jazz club somewhere playing along, with this. So the big thing here is that now if the kids go through and play all this, and we've had reports from teachers that they go and they sample every one of these. If they play along with every one of these, they're going to play this like 7 or 8 times. And so now they've played it and they've practiced it multiple times, which is a great thing for them to do. They've had a really good model and they've had some really steady tempo. They can adjust the tempo as they need. They can also record themselves. So they can record themselves in a couple of different ways. They can record themselves if they come in here and they want to do just with the jazz background track with the melody on. So now I'm recording. You're going to hear me here in a second when we get done. And they can save it, and you'll hear me background track with the melody on. So now so you hear me in there talking. They can record multiple times. This is one of the features that we really think helps kids a lot, because nowadays when they go home, they should be recording themselves. Everybody has devices that can record themselves over and over again. So we really want them to record multiple takes, listen to it, analyze themselves, try to help themselves get better. Because that's one of the best ways kids can get better is if they hear themselves and they are the ones that try to make things better. You want kids to have opinions on how they play. I was actually having a conversation with Chris Martin. Chris Martin's a trumpet player for the New York Philharmonic, and he used to be in Chicago. And we were having a conversation once. I'll come back here in a second. My camera knows that. And he was teaching at Northwestern, and I asked him, I said, what do you hear? What do you feel like when kids get to college? What's one of the things you feel? And he goes, they're doing so well. He goes, the teachers teach so well, and the kids are so attuned to what the teachers say to them. And they're great kids. And he was very impressed with like how teachers teach nowadays. He said, but if I had to be nitpicky on one thing that I think kids could do better, sometimes they play and I ask them what they can do better. And they just kind of wait. They're like, well, they're willing to do whatever he tells them to do to get better, but they're a little tentative to kind of analyze some stuff. It's almost like they played it and they weren't really in that mindset of like analyzing it. So this is something in class you can do. You can have kids record and hear themselves, and you can have them record at home. I would say like this too, when a kid is practicing at home, they sort of have to take on 3 different characteristics. They have to be 3 people. They have to be the performer, then they have to be the teacher, and then they have to be the student. They have to be all 3 of those things. And if they're not recording themselves, they have to do all of that at one time. They have to play and analyze what they're doing and then try to figure out what they need to do to fix it, and then come back and be the student and practice it again. if they record themselves, they can just be the performer and play it. And then they can listen to themselves and be the teacher and listen to it and go, oh, you do this better here, do this better. And then they can go back and be the student and practice things and then go back and record themselves again. So having them record, I always tell my son this. I'm like, when you're practicing, if you're not recording yourself, you're kind of taking, you're limiting yourself. So if you record yourselves, it's going to help. So we have them do multiple takes. They can record multiple things so that they can hear themselves and compare. One fun exercise I had a teacher tell me they do, sometimes kids try to go record and they try to get 5 takes. You can have up to 5 takes here. They try to record up to 5 takes just to get one that's really good. And he goes, well, with my better kids, what I have them do, I said, I want you to record 5 takes and I want them to all be good. I want you to record 5 times and have all 5 of them be your best recording, and then pick your best one out of that. But it's a consistency thing. So in here, this is not just about getting one so that you can send it to the teacher or one to save. He actually takes, he does it with different levels. He's like, okay, you're really great, do 5. He doesn't say this in front of the whole class. That would not be educationally sound. Like, you do 5, you do 1. He's not doing that. But you know what I'm saying? So he's giving some challenges to some people to help them. So when they're done, they can come in here and just save it. And it's going to save right up to their recordings, and then they can kind of go from there. So I kind of jumped through a lot of different things there, but the main idea is you've got these multiple accompaniment tracks. You've got the music right there on screen. It's really easy in class. If you want to jump from one thing to the next, you can. If you want to come in here and move down, and let's get down to my dreidel, you can pop into the next part of the book. There's a lot of different things that you guys can do in class as teachers with this. So a couple questions I see over here as far as are there ways for kids can make an accompaniment? Not yet. I see, Mike. I see you're saying they're not. It's not a way for them to make an accompaniment, but that's an interesting suggestion. I'll have to kind of think on that one a little bit. Yes, and I have some people who are saying book 2. We are adding multiple accompaniment tracks to book 2. It's on our list. It's a goal. We've had several of them recorded. And we're trying to get those out there too as well. So one more question here. Elementary level, how do you pull out programs? How do you teach students to navigate the platform? Do you take time in every class? We've had different teachers do different things with navigating the platform. It depends on what students have, what devices they have. We do have some teachers that just have a day where everyone bring in your Chromebook and let's all sit down and kind of do it and get them in. We are working on ways to make it even more simple. In fact, to get students signed up, it's going to be a very simple process, especially coming in the fall. We have several streamlined things we're going to do, but we do have teachers that just take a day and and maybe not even a day, just like 10 or 15 minutes, and have everyone in the program on their laptop there in class and navigate. Some teachers take them to the computer lab. That's something else we've heard that the teachers do, just to kind of get everybody in there and just let them play around. I would recommend, if you're going to have students send you recordings, we'll talk about this later, make it super simple. Like, send me a recording of number 1 of you just talking. Just have the kid talk. It's not a grade. It's not an assessment. It's just send in a recording. If you send it in, you get 100. I'm not grading you on how you play or any of that, but just the simplest thing to have them send it in. We'll talk more about that as we get to the assignment area. So, all right, so let's kind of hop back over here. So again, they can practice any essential elements exercise, kind of work through that. And, kind of jumped too quickly through that. See if it stays. It doesn't want to stay. That's a fun thing. I'll just hop over here. So a lot of times we think people think that EE is just, or EI is just for EE. You can actually have the students record anything. We have what's called the All Music Studio. This is just a blank recorder. So for example, if you have a certain type of scale you want them to do, or you have a warm-up exercise that you want them to be doing, or anything, music for a concert coming up, you want them to record that. They can come in and they can do. They can record in here. You get a 5-minute recorder on here. they can just come in and make a recording. You can record kids in class too, by the way. This is another thing that you can do with EEI is if you have a nice microphone or even just a microphone on your laptop, you can make recordings and play them back for them right there in EEI as well, which is a great teaching tool, whether it's an individual playing or whether it's everybody playing. And we have some other features that are coming up I'm going to talk to you about as well. So if they come in here, same thing, they can make 5 recordings, and when they save it, they just title it whatever they want to title it, and they're good to go. And so then that's going to save, and they have anything. So this isn't just for, beginners. This isn't just for Essential Elements users. If you use Essential Elements, you can have all of your recordings in here. So that's kind of something that's an important thing to realize. So we have also added videos, and we are video submissions. And so we're going to have, let me pop out of here. I'm going to open up a different window so that we can see this. But we've added video submission for this so that students can make videos. And I'm going to give you a little shot of this. So the student can come in, you've got the video camera right there, and they've got the video right there so that they can kind of see the music and see their video right in the screen. And when they save that, it goes right here. I'm going to play a little video so you can kind of see a little bit about this. And once it's saved, it's in the My Recording section, the Save Recording section, and the student can come in and easily access the video. So if you've made a video, you just click right there. Video is there for them to access, and they can watch it and see what they look like, evaluate it if they want to submit it. This one's already been submitted, so you can do that. You can also download the video if you want to download it, or do a picture-in-picture, which is just pop the video over here so you can kind of have more of the page to look at if you want to. You can even do full screen if you'd like to. This video has already been submitted, and the teacher actually even commented and was able to talk about your bow hand looks really great. Your left hand is much improved. So this is a new aspect that teachers can do, that they can actually comment on what they're seeing from the students. So that's kind of a show of what the students are going to see once they save it. Here's their saved recordings. There's a lot of ways for them to get the feedback from you, but their videos are right there. And there's a lot of things they can do with those videos. And we're going to talk about how to use that in assignments. So the music studio, again, there's a lot of flexibility there. They can do a lot of things, play along, those type of things. But to connect with your students, you're going to, let me kind of refresh this. There we go, sorry. To connect with your students, you're going to want to also be able to create assignments and kind of connect with them in that way. So let's walk through how we're going to do this. One of the nice things about the assignments, when you send assignments to the students, is when they send it back, it is really easy to keep everything organized. And really see what your students are doing with keeping their progress going. We have a lot of teachers today. This is the easiest way for them to listen to recordings, and using a lot of different things. So you can see this is the cloud-based chart. It's right there. It's very easy to see what recordings have been submitted.
Access, organize, and sort recording.
Show you through here. So it's going to have a color-coded chart as well to show you. So if it's gold, you know that you haven't listened to that one. If it's green, it's got a check mark or a grade in it. You know he's graded it. If it's red, you've actually asked the student to redo that. You can easily just click on a recording that you need to listen to. And if you select that, it's going to pop right there. The music is on screen, and you can listen to that recording and type a comment. We have a couple other ways that you can do some comments as well. I'm going to show you here in a little bit. But you grade that recording, you send it back, it goes right to the student, and it's right there. You can also, if you just want to hear every recording from a student, you can just click on the student's name, and it's right there. If you want to hear everyone who's turned in number 10, click on number 10, and there's everything right there. So you see there's a lot of different ways that you can listen to students and listen to their recordings. If you have students who send in, by the way, again, you can also organize it. If you want to just see just your beginning band students, you can show them. If you want to sort it by score order, by last name, you can do that as well. And anybody, if you have some students in book 1, book 2, book 3, they can all be in this same grade book that's in here. So all music comes in by the date. And then if you do assignments, All the assignments you put in there are right there. Same thing. If you want to click on an assignment and see everybody who's done that assignment, you can do that. It's just very simple to get in here. And one of the secrets that people really like is this button I'm about to show you, which is show ungraded. And if you select this, every submission that you haven't listened to is all on one screen, and you can just go right down the list and listen to those recordings all right back to back. And it's a really efficient way to listen to recordings. And then when you're done grading it, at the moment, we have a way to export those grades to an Excel sheet, and you can put that into any kind of grading program. We are actually working to get this connected to Google Classroom and get this connected to Google Classroom and get it connected to some other learning management systems. That's hopefully coming in the very beginning of the fall. So that's something that we're going to work towards. But we do have a lot of teachers that, again, just say it's so easy to get in, just listen to those recordings and get them in there. We actually just passed this last school year, we just passed 1 million student recordings in EEI. So there are a ton of kids who are getting in there. We have some schools that have almost 20,000 recordings from their class. Oh, I see some people cheering for Canvas and Google Classroom. Yes, absolutely. I actually have some fun things for you can do now with Canvas and Google Classroom. I'm going to show you that here in just a little bit as well. So one other thing that you can do, we added this last March, actually. And again, one of the best things about Essential Moments Interactive and something that I do on a regular basis is we get feedback from teachers and we immediately try to put that in there. This is one of the things that we added based on teachers wanting a different way to connect to their students. So here is, for example, what we call teacher audio feedback. So a student can send in a recording, and you can actually make a recording, an audio recording, to give back to them for your feedback. So you don't just have to type it. You can type it, or you can do this. I'm going to give you an example. This is a teacher who used this, and she's going to tell her student what she wants to do. You can just hear. There's so many things you can do with this. I'm just going to play it so you can hear what she does.
Hi, Kyle. You're off to a good start with this song. Most of your notes are correct. You're going to want to check the first note in the third measure. You're reading that note as a G, and it's actually an A, and it happens a few more times in the song. You're going to need to work on the rhythm a little bit. Go back and listen to the song and maybe count and clap. Okay? The learning target for this piece of music is I can perform an accent. So the notes that have the V's.
So you can just hear in her voice, like, instead of a kid just getting a written and a grade, she's hearing that the student can hear, the comments and hear some things from their teacher. So verbal comments are helpful. You could actually play for the student. So if you wanted to play an example, like, hey, you tried this, here's what measure 4, here's really what I'd like you to sound like. Especially if you're working in high school or something on a higher level, you're like, okay, you played the notes right, but now I want to demonstrate the style, or I want to demonstrate intonation on this particular pitch. Here's what you did to listen to the difference. So you can provide more, more audio feedback for them, model for them, genuine praise, and them hear, and you heard her, like she was kind of basically telling him he didn't play the right rhythms and he's only got quarter notes. So she did it in such a kind manner. So it's a way for her to give that information to him and have him kind of, still feel pretty good about that. Because if you can give, constructive criticism to students and they can still love you about it, that's a great way to help with that. So if you can do that, say that to them, it's really helpful. So we do have those video assignments, and I'm going to really show you how this is going to work, because this is really, really helpful. There are people who really would like to be able to, someone just asked, can we do video back to the students? And that is actually something we're getting the video kind of set students to teachers first. We do have in mind to have video from the teacher back to the students at some point as well. Not there yet, but that's one of the nice things. We are going to constantly grow this program and constantly make it better. So EEI video assignments. So again, the student can make the video right in their EEI account and send that directly to the teacher, and it's going to show up right in the teacher account. And I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of an example of what that might look like, for a student from a teacher.
So now from the teacher side, this really opens up a lot of stuff that you can do here. So first of all, this is that student's submissions. And if they recorded a video, you can come in here and you can just pop open the video, and there he is, and you can press play. Now, I've already commented on this one, send it back, but as you can see, you can now see what the student's doing and make those comments back to them based on what you're seeing. If they make a video recording, I should pop that back open again. If you make a video recording, there is audio. So you can just listen to the audio if you want to. You can even download the audio, or like I said, you can download the video as well. So, but we also have this picture-in-picture, and here's where this really kind of comes into play. So this next one you see, this was submitted without a video. So that's just an audio recording, because you can still have them submit audio. You may not want them to do video every single time. And you may have some kids that can't do video, or their parents don't want them to do video. That either way, that's fine. But they can still do the audio submissions. Now, if you come down here, here's where this really just kind of takes everything to a new level. I mentioned the audio recording feedback that you can give kids. I mentioned that earlier. So check this out. So you can pop open this video. Now let's pop this into the picture-in-picture, and then let's do a recorded message. So now I've got the music on screen. I've got this video I'm going to watch, and I'm going to record this message. So I'm going to hit record. And so I'm getting the students playing. And now I can comment on the video and the audio recording. And you're going to hear I'm doing that right now. Good. Really nice job on the slur. Make sure you really watch that pitch. Good, and you want to hit that full bow to be as full as you can. And I hit end. And so now I have the video and I have my comments. So here are my comments. And so I'm getting the students playing. And now I can comment on the video and the audio recording. And you're going to hear I'm doing that right now. Good, really nice job on the slur. So that really allows you to send feedback to your students in a much more specific manner. And I'm just going to save that, and it's saved, or it's saving. Now we're good to go. And that recording is there. And now I can just say, listen, if I can spell, to recorded comments. And I'm going to give that person a grade of a 95. Close that back up. Close up the pop-up window. And we're good to go. And that's going to go back to that student. And they're going to have recorded comments. They're going to be able to watch their video and hear your comments right back to them. So really the video and the way that you can use this in the teacher part is really going to open up a lot for what you can do in getting feedback to your students.
So, and full disclosure, we did have parent permission to use that video because that is actually my son. So, so I give permission to shoot that. But anyway, yeah, when we're working at home in COVID, you got to use what you can use, right? But I do want to show you, this is interesting. We've had a lot of teachers who've used this, and I want to show you this next video.
So now from the
that actually came in, I had a teacher who sent this to me. She said, you have to see this student because it's just, this is going to be that thing where you're going to connect. You connecting to your students at home is as much about them hearing you as it is about you seeing them kind of in their environment. So this is a teacher who's, her assignment to her class was just to demonstrate the mouthpiece, the mouthpiece sound. This is the very beginning stages of playing. And it should have been like a 20-second video. But this student, she's like, you have to see this video. And so she sent this to me. And so we do have parent permission for this child to show this video because this is fantastic. So the teacher said, you know, it was one of those days where I was trying to record a bunch of stuff. I was trying to get it, you know, had something coming up and it was just a stressful day. And then I got to listen to this child's video.
Hi, so I am going to be making a sound with my mouthpiece. So let's do that. So I have my trumpet here. It's right here. And I'm going to open it.
YouTube video star in the making.
And so I have my mouthpiece right here. And what we do with it is we buzz. So how to buzz is you take your mouthpiece, and it's a metal, and so it's kind of heavy when you hold it. Just a little heavy. Anyways, so you're gonna do that, like that. Put your lips like around here. It's like on the rims kind of, but you still have your mouth kind of closed, if you know what I mean. So basically you go like this. Oh, that was not the best one. Yeah, that was not the best one. So let's try it again. So that is how you do the mouthpiece. So, and yeah, spit, actually, if you put the trumpet together,
This is my
which
favorite
they're
part.
both two pieces, so the trumpet is two pieces, it goes into here, but the spit, when you're blowing into the trumpet, if you have it all assembled, the spit goes here. So when you're doing the mouthpiece, just be careful not to shake it, because then spit is gonna go everywhere, because there's gonna be spit there if you've been blowing a lot. So just don't shake it like that, because I remember the first lesson I ever had, like the first Tuesday I ever.
So that's your 20-second video. Now they're not all like that, but every now and then you need a little, video like that, just to kind of like get you moving through the rest of the day. But you get to see your personality of your kids. You get to see, someone said, this is why I'm a string player. Yeah, I get it. So the other thing is, she's saying all this, you can tell she paid attention in class. You can tell she loves being in that class. So there's an aspect of this that's not just about getting feedback to your kids. It's about connecting with them. It's about seeing that this kid loves being in this class, So it's just one of those things that's really a helpful way to kind of see how things go. So now, one thing that does happen as we start to have kids come back to class, and you have kids in class, this is another request that we've had, because for a while, students could submit their recordings, and in a lot of these online assessment programs, students can submit recordings and you can grade them, or they can be auto-graded, but it all starts from the student submitting it. We had some teachers who were like, well, we have a lot of times where kids play something in class and they do really well. We want to give them credit, or we hear our kids in class and we want to do something. So we have actually added a way for you to grade students and record them in class and have all of those grades be right in the same class. So if you're in class and you want to have a student play, you just click on one of the sections. In fact, I can show you. We'll log out of here and we'll log back in as a teacher. So if I'm in a class and I just pull this up on my iPad or on my phone or on my computer, and I go over here and I'm like, okay, I want to hear Sammy is going to play book 1, number 31. I can actually just select that and it's going to pop open to that assignment, and I can have the student play it right there in class. And then I can also make a recording. So I can comment on this and I can say, we're going to make a recording, press record. The student plays it right there in class. And when they're done playing it, I can comment it, still record that comment and do all of that. And I can say, great job in class, give them a grade. We'll give them 100 because we're being nice today. We save that, save it, and that goes right to the student's grade. If I submit that, then that grade's right there. It's already, so you're listening to it in class, you're recording them in class, you're giving them comments. That grade and that recording is going to now be in their student account as well. So when they go home, they can actually listen to their in-class performance, hear whatever you said, read your comments, and have that assessment back at home. And, I always say this, like, kids take a math test and the teacher can mark on the test and write stuff, and they can go home and look at what they did wrong and try and figure it out. Sometimes if they take a test in class and they don't have an audio recording, they just have to kind of remember what the teacher said. They may not even have a piece of paper to look at. They just have to sort of figure out how to get better. This gives them a chance to connect that what they did in class to when they go home. And so this is an additional thing that you can do. You can actually add it here. You don't have to make a recording. If you wanted to just, listen to a kid and give them a grade, something along those lines, you just pass them. I heard them in class, I passed it. You don't have to make a recording. You can just submit that. And then that's right there as well. If you do that, it just gives a notification that says no audio recording is available for the song. So you don't have to give them that grade, but you can come in here and you can give them, it says here recorded by teacher. If someone submits one and they need to do a new one, you can actually hit this in class and you can listen to it again. So you can have kids submit stuff, and if they submit something that's not so good, you could hear them again in class and make it better. You could hear them in class and make a recording and then have them go home. If it wasn't good enough, they could go home and listen to that and then submit one to you at home. So you can do, we have teachers who do it all the time. We have teachers that have them submit recordings only for makeup assignments, but you can do it either way. We're just trying to open this up. So I had somebody who asked if you can put a time limit on videos like in Flipgrid. That's an interesting suggestion. Yeah, you do. Those videos are cute when you see them doing really, really well with that. But sometimes you're like, okay, get to the point. I get you. I hear you. That's an interesting point. So that is our, way you can kind of organize and keep everything in one place. And again, they can do EE music, they can do non-EE music, you can track progress, audio, video. So that's kind of, from a performance and playing standpoint, a way to connect with them. They can also do self-assessments. This is a little bit more in-depth, but as far as that's concerned. But they can, when you send an assignment, they can do, assignments and they can send you comments. You can also create self-assessments where they can check what they did well. They can rate themselves on different things. You can make those, you can create those. So you have them grade themselves based on what you feel is important. And you can submit that with that. Making assignments is really pretty simple. If you just go to recording assignments, if you want to do an EE book, you just click on that and you just select whatever song you want them to do. You click a due date. So we'll say on the 23rd. If you want them to do a recording, you can say required and just remind them. Like I said, if you want to make self-assessments, you can come in here and have them, you can create your own, you can select that self-assessment. And then you just pick one instrument. So I'm going to do 6th grade clarinets. I want them to do that. And it's good. They're good to go. If you want them to do something else, all you have to do for an all music assignment, you just have to type it in. You don't even use the song list. So if you want to do an all music assignment, you just do like, we'll do like, warm up. I can't type. Warm up number 2. And then you can do that. When you send that to them, it's going to automatically open into an all music studio assignment. All of these will go again back into your regular assignments. So for example, if I make this, if I make, warm up number 2, if I make this as an assignment, and there it is. And then if I go back over to my student recording section and I come into the assignments, I'm going to see that, warm up number 2 is going to be in there as one of those assignments. So it's something that's in there and you can kind of see all that's in there. Oops, sorry, I didn't show it to you. So the student recordings, you'll see, warm up number 2 is right there. So it's logged in and you'll get that assignment right in there. So making those assignments is really quite simple. For you Google Classroom, people like that, we did add something that's kind of a simple thing. We have this class assignment link. So if you want to come in here, if you click on the assignment link, it's going to copy that to your clipboard, the assignment, and then you can paste that into a Google assignment, or you can paste that into an email if you want to send an email out. And so when they do that, then we also have this new feature we just added that allows teachers and students to just stay logged in. So you don't have to log in quite as much. That's a request we had on a regular basis. So we've added that and they can stay logged in. So if the student has the stay logged in checked and they get that assignment from you and they click on that link, it's going to take them directly to the assignment that they need to record. So literally one link from a Canvas assignment or one link from an email, and it's going to get them right to where they need to. They can still log in, and those assignments are right there in the dashboard when they get there. But that's just kind of a simple thing that we added. So again, that's on that on the assignment link. If they just click on that after you make that assignment, it's right there. So really quite simple to kind of look at. So lots of ways, obviously, for kids to perform, lots of ways for them to, stay. I'll come back here in just a second. It does that every now and then. Lots of ways for you to stay connected with them, obviously, in the music studio and the assignments and things of that nature. Like I said, future, we've got Google Classroom and Canvas. Those are ways to get in there. I want to really briefly touch on the resources section because this is another great way to stay connected. We have a ton of resources in EEI, more than I think some people realize. We have an entire theory curriculum that's in there, pulled from various Hal Leonard products that really kind of introduce pretty much every music theory concept you could need for each book. These are printable PDFs. We have some that are interactive, that students can fill them in and then save them and then send them in with things filled in. But for the most part, they're printable PDFs. You get the chance to reproduce them if you're an EEI customer. We have note naming sheets. So there's a whole note naming curriculum that kind of walks them through learning how to read notes so that they can kind of be really proficient at that. There's an entire rhythm counting curriculum in there as well. Someone just asked if the theory will be interactive. We are having plans to have more interactivity with this, but at the moment we have a lot of different resources. These PDFs, if you're seeing students in class, really able to print these and hand them out. One suggestion I would have on the rhythm counting, the rhythm counting, we have a lot. There's 15 different rhythm counting sheets in there. Print, like say you're going to do rhythm counting number 11 right there. Print that and make it the same on both sides. You can do a double-sided print, rhythm counting 11 on both sides. Have them write in the rhythms, write in the counts on one side, and leave the other side blank. That way you can check their understanding for writing it in, but when they actually count and clap or count and touch things out loud, they're not just reading the rhythms underneath that. They're not just reading what they wrote in. They're actually reading the music and counting it. So it's a way for them to be able to check it, for you to be able to check it, for them to still read music the way that they normally would read music. We have a lot of instrument fundamentals for both band and strings. For band in particular, I'm going to speak to this because the starting of the band instruments is a little different than the strings. They're all a little bit more individualistic. So we have quite a few. Exercises, videos, and PDFs that we've added. There's a startup sheet for every instrument for band. And it walks them through all of the fundamentals individually that they're going to need to be playing page 4 and 5 out of the book. So for this is, for example, this is the trumpet. They just do some mouthpiece work initially by themselves. Then they move into just mouthpiece sirens, then some long tones on their instrument. Then they work on changing notes, and then they separate and actually work on articulation. It's all of the skills that are presented on page 4 and 5 separated out. And all of these sheets are specific for each instrument. So there's a clarinet sheet, there's a flute sheet, there's a trumpet sheet, trombone, so on and so forth. So these are some ways that you can help students in the very beginning to be able to do this. I see a question here a couple of times. Do we have ukulele? We don't at the moment. We've had that request. This is geared towards band and strings at the moment, but there's possibilities that we might be able to do some ukulele stuff a little bit later. Other sheets, strings. There's several places in the book that the string authors have really added some different materials to kind of help with some concepts. So they have some bowing studies. They have some extra duets that are in there. They have some extra string music that's in there as well to help them with that. So with that, there's also videos that are a part of this. And we've started this, and we have updated the videos from the original series and made them really, much more detailed. They're high definition. These are all separated out, and you can share these through EEI so that they can kind of see them on whatever device they need to get to. You can see how detailed they are. If you look at the clarinet on the bottom right, there's even some things, well, I guess I skipped that part, but we show really proper ways to do it. We also show common problems and make sure that they realize don't do it like this. So there's a lot of detailed information in here as well. So we've added those, and I don't want to hold this over, so I'm going to kind of move through this a little bit quicker. You can also add your own resources. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that I've added and kind of walk you through some of these things. So for example, I used to have a sheet that I would give my students that would let them know how I wanted them to practice. So here's a PDF that I made, and I shared this with the students, and I uploaded that to EEI, and now I can share that right with them. The beauty of this is when you share it, again, you can share by instrument. So this is a brass practice suggestion. So I'm going to click share, and then I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to share this with only my brass player. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to select trumpet, I'm going to select horn, trombone, and you see the students on the right that it shows up. And so now they're all organized by instrument, and I've shared that. And now I know that all of those brass players are getting that in their resources. So the kids are only getting the resources that apply to them. You can make multiple resources and do whatever you need to do to share that with them. You can also come in here and you can make videos. And so if, for example, let me go to the next one. There we go. You can also make some videos. So for example, I made a quick video for the trombones. So this might be something I would make and put this up there. I put this on YouTube.
Hey, trombones and euphoniums. Well, today I'm going to give you a song. I'm going to play it on my mouthpiece. I'm not going to tell you what it is, although some of you might know what it is. You need to look it up and try and find what the name of the song is. Also, after I'm done playing it, you're going to back the video up and you're going to play along with me on the mouthpiece.
So I'll just, for time's sake, I'm going to move through that pretty quickly. But you can get the idea. If you want to make recordings and have your kids practice along. We had one teacher who, she was really having a tough time with hand position on clarinet. So she made a video that just showed her hands. And she said, okay, you're going to do the warm-up exercise that you're doing at home. And like all they could see was just hands. They said, make your hands look like my hands. And so the kids played along with it and they just watched her hands. And it was, it's a really helpful thing. You can also connect with them if you want to do like a month, like a weekly thing. So here's like just a little fun weekly video that I put up for the kids, just to kind of get them to kind of, come to the site, give them a different reason to come here.
I hope you're having a great day. Just wanted to say hi and check in, see how you're doing. And today we have a special guest. Owen, come here. Owen wanted to say hi. Say hi to the kiddos. Can I get a kiss? No.
So you get the idea. You just kind of can have a lot of different, try to give the kids reasons to come to the site. Try to give them, fun things. And we have some more fun things, more music that we're going to be adding as well. But this is it. EEI has a ton of different options, a lot of different things you can do, and it's all kind of in one place. Excuse me. The music from the books is on screen. There's play along accompaniments, the audio video assignments. They can record any music. It doesn't just have to be EE. In-class assignments, you're able to do that as well, trying to connect the classroom to what they do at home. Self-assessment, that personalized feedback, resources. There's a lot of different things you can do. So we're trying to provide as much stuff as we can to you guys, as many tools as we can, and we constantly add things as well. So I hope this kind of gives you some ideas. If you're, obviously very interested in seeing if you have any questions. Happy to stay on here and answer some questions. If you are an Essential Elements user, if you have Essential Elements, you are definitely able to use this and get an account. And if you don't use Essential Elements, you can get a demo account if you go to essentialementsinteractive.com. I also would like to point you guys to something else. EEIblog.com is another place that you can go that really offers a lot of information on Essential Elements and offers some teaching tips and tutorials and different things that you might be able to use. So it's one of those things where you're able to see a lot of different things. There's some tutorials in here as well. Students, so there's a lot that we have to offer, and thank you so much for your time. It's really here towards the end, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to turn it over, see if there's any. I'll probably just answer some questions on the chat, might be one, unless we have some people that would like to speak up. We can see how you want to do that. Cindy, I'll kind of throw it back to you for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. We do have a few questions that came up throughout that I may just go back to here real quick.
Okay.
There was one question that asked about using this for their high school students, mainly,
Yes.
Wanting to be able to record and things like that. So I just want you to speak to that real quick here.
Yeah. So if, the one thing about this is for example, if you were in high school and you had your kids use book 2 or book 3, once they got their account, say book 3 was their book, like their freshman year, that account stays with them the whole 4 years in high school. There's no end to an account for a student or for a teacher. So that one book gets them the access to that and gets you, the teacher, the access for the entire time they're in high school. We even have some schools that they've started in the beginner and they've gone all the way through high school and they've used all 3 books, and they have those students have recordings from their beginner year all the way through their high school year, all in one account. So you can use that, and again, you can record stuff from the book, but you can also record your high school music that you're having them work on as well. So that's how you can kind of use that there. Other questions in here?
Yeah, there was a question here from Anne saying, I'd like to see individual instrument parts for the full band pieces at the end of book 2. Is this something that is possible?
Yeah, I kind of look at that. I see what you're saying. We have the majority of our stuff in there. There's a couple of things that I think are not in are not in there, but we're working to add those a little bit. Most of those didn't have any accompaniments to them because of a variety of things, but we'll check on that. We have some things that we're going to be adding. I know there's the rhythm counting and some of the scales at the end of book 1 that we're actually going to be adding as well, the Rubank studies. So there are a few things that we're going to add here in the near future. I do see one in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a question about the sign up process being a little hard for elementary. We are actually going to have a way for kids to sign up where you actually just send them a link and they click on that and it takes them where they just type in their name, username, and then they're in. So we are going to simplify that process and make it much easier for you and for the students.
It looks like Juliana's got her hand raised here. Maybe has a question.
Yeah,
Sure.
hi. Hello from Eastern Shore of Maryland. I just wanted to know, I usually sign my kids up myself. I get their code out of their book when it comes in with their instrument, and I give them a username and password. That way, when they're telling me I can't log in, I forget, and then I write their username and password in front of their book. So they have it at home all the time. And I just find out a lot quicker process. Do you see any problem with that process?
I don't. We did add something a while back. I was going to show you. I mean, that's definitely a way to do it. But let me show you something that we did add recently. Let's see if I can share this. Because we did have people saying like my students are having a hard time with their username and password. We added their username right there. So like if you ever have a kid forget their username, it's right there for them. So that's something that we had. So that could be very helpful. The new way that we're going to have students sign up, honestly, is they just click a link and then they're just going to basically do the last step. So it's going to be like a one-step sign up going forward. They're not going to have a lot of different things. Probably you'll still have the school code, but with the link, it's going to take that step out and just have them connect to your class. So we're trying to keep it even more streamlined. We also have coming soon is once we get that connection to Google Classroom, you'll have that single sign-on where if they have a login for their school, it may end up being the same login.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a couple different things coming for next fall to really make all of that process much more simple and much easier.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for the question. Other questions? So I had someone ask about, they teach at different elementary schools. 2 different ways you can do this. We have some teachers that like to have multiple accounts and keep all the schools separate. Totally fine with that. You're welcome to sign up with different accounts. And you have an activation code for the book, but if you just send us an email, we can get you set up with multiple accounts. There's some schools that the teachers that just like to have it separate like that. You can have one account for all schools. And then you can create groups in EEI where you just kind of, it's actually really one of those things where you go in here into the My Student section. And if you create a group, you just add a group, let's call it West. You add the group and then you add students and you just pick different students. Now they are in that group and students can be in multiple groups. So if you, so for example, this student now in West, if you have different schools, you can just make each school a different group. And then when you go to share, do assignments or share resources, you can share it by group, you can share it by instrument. So groups is one of the ways that people do multiple schools. That's a really helpful way to do that. Other questions? Cindy, I don't know if you see any over there.
Question just came across if there's a limit on how many groups you can create.
There's not. So make as many groups as you want. Go for it.
And there were,
and students, like I said before, so students can be in multiple groups too. So if you have someone who's in this elementary school, but you also want them to be in high brass, they can be in both of those or something like that.
And also there was a question previously when you were going through the videos, can you put a limit on how many videos a student submits for any one assignment?
On one assignment. That's an interesting comment. We've never had that question. We'll have to look at that. At the moment, no, there's not a limit, but that's an interesting question. And I think, yeah, it's you. I get it. You know, a kid sends in 5 videos for one thing. You're like, well, which one do you want me to grade? Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. We'll take that under advisement, so to speak. I see the question about recorder. We don't have a recorder for EEI. But we do have a Central Elements music class which provides recorder, but it's not like this. So I can't really speak to that. It's not my area. So how can students be transferred to different students? That is actually something that is very simple. I will show you. There is a place for them to go let's see here. We'll log in again. So here's a student in one of our demo. If they go to my account, so I did that too fast probably. Let me go back here. So my account section up here in the upper right hand. If they go to my account and they say join EEI class, and they come in here and they enter the new school code, that will move them to that school. So if I come in here, for example, and if this is if I select that, that might be something where they can go and they can join that class. I won't do that. I won't change the student. But if they type in a school code, that'll move them over to that new class. So that's something we can do there. All right. When they sign up with book 1, will that give them access to books 2 and 3 as they move through the program? Every book comes with an activation code, so there is a way for them to activate more books. On the Music Studio, there's a place that says activate book 2 or activate book 3. If they click on that, enter their code, then they end up with book 1 and 2 material all in their account. So they can have one account and have multiple books. You can do that as well as a teacher. You can have multiple books inside one account. Can the old teacher delete the student once they move? So when a student moves, they're no longer in the first account. So they won't be able to see any of that. They just pop over and you don't see, they're just gone. So that's hopefully yeah, exactly. Just off into never land. First book 2 and 3 and use them multiple years. I guess that might be a class set question. We have ways to help you guys on class sets. Obviously, the main way it's written is if a student buys their own book, they have their code. The code's good for one student for one activation. But if you need help with that, especially now, I know things are crazy with kids being at home and all that. We've helped so many students get in here. We want to make sure that we're making it easy for you. So if you have questions on class sets or if you have questions on getting students in with distance learning, all that, just send us an email at eei@howleonard.com. We'll work with you. We'll do what we can to get you and your students what you need. We're happy to help. So Google Quick Login come this fall. We're actually working on it right now. We're hoping to have that done before the end of this year so we can show it to you. I don't do the programming though, so I can't tell you that that's going to happen. I think for the moment, I'll just kind of stay here and see if I can kind of come in here and maybe I can answer some of these unless there's others that have questions. Or anything else that you might see in there?
I believe we've covered most of them. Just had a new one come in here.
Full band songs. I was wondering if there could be a way for individual instruments to hear. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you want there to be like in the full band hear the clarinet. Possibly. The recordings we have on those, unfortunately, are the full group. So I'll have to check on that. Is it Giuseppe? Is that how you say that? I do see you pop in on. I just got a message from one of our Italian friends. There may be a few Italians who are using EEI, but it's you're a pioneer. Let's say it that way. So, can kids do video recordings in all music without an assignment? Yes, they can. They can make video and audio recordings in there all the time. I will say, by the way, for video to come up, I didn't share this earlier, but for kids to be able to use video, you need to go to your My Account section and click the enable video button. I'm not going to show that now because to do that, I have to show some kind of school, and then I don't want to show that information on screen. But if you go to log into your teacher account and you go to my account, there's a button that says enable video recording. If you click on that, it'll open it up into all of your students. So.
And Steve, there was another question here that from Margaret, where she found out she's going to be teaching all different beginning band students in one class. So can you put up multiple parts on the screen at once?
Gotcha. We can't do all of it at one time. It's just one part because it is the music is just the individual parts. But let us think on that one and see if we can figure out what might be possible on that. But yeah, so no, not at the moment. But you can switch back and forth very easily. I will say that it's instantaneous if you just drop down to the flute part or move over to the the whatever we want to do. We also have the A and B pages for the oboe and horn book in there as well, just so everyone's aware. Is there a way to show our administration that we attended this training? I think that's maybe a West Music. Do you guys have that was a question that's in there.
Potentially. Look for an email later this week from me.
All right. I think we're good. If you guys have questions, if you get off of this and you're like, oh, I forgot, send us an email, just eei@halleonard.com, and just say, hey, I attended the West thing. I have one more question and I can answer it. We have customer service people that can answer it as well. So I will say this, our EEI support team, our customer service, really some fantastic people. We try to get back to you as soon as possible with is really thorough. You will talk to someone. It's not an automated thing. So if you ever have questions, please send us questions, send us ideas. If you're like, can it do this? Please send it. We love suggestions because it's a website, so we don't have to say no. We can say not now, but maybe in the future. So, but anyway, really appreciate the time, and thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions. Fantastic questions.
Yes, thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for your attendance today. And we're so grateful that you were here, and hopefully that you found this very informative and are able to use it, if not this school year, in the next one. Thank you again, Steve and Hal Leonard, for being here with us, and best of luck for the end of your all school year.